It was Man of Steel, but that came and went, and then it's become Pacific Rim. This has been the movie I've been most excited about this summer now. We've seen it. What do you think, my friend?
We actually saw it on the IMAX screen.
Yes.
The thing that I like about this movie right away is that Guillermo del Toro, as the director, doesn't waste any time introducing us to the kaiju within the first 10 frames of the film. You see one. There's lots of kaiju in this movie. There's lots of giant robots. They call them Jaegers. There's lots of action that is almost indistinguishable from the other action in the movie. And if I have a problem with it, it's the fact that this thing is so visually redundant.
It's a stimulating movie, this one, for
sure. I
sure.
felt like my eyes were constantly trying to keep up with what was going on screen, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. And I feel like that's the big draw here. If you don't know what's going on in the fights, there's really not much else here to hang your hat on.
I didn't have an issue following all of the action in this movie, but I do have to say that it is overstimulating for sure, and it is exactly what it promises to be. Not more than that.
It's the lowest common denominator. It doesn't really reach above that, and that's what I was kind of hoping for. This guy directed Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy. I just kept hoping that it would reach a little higher.
But what would you expect to add to
some real characters? Some actual human beings who I believe.
Come on! Let's do this together!
I don't mean to disparage the work here, because this is a phenomenal experience, and it's totally unique, and it's fresh IP, and a tremendous amount of artistic work went into building this beautiful film that is just littered with spectacle. But yes, the characters are kind of stereotypical, kind of tropes, kind of forgettable. Everybody tries.
Idris Elba, who is an excellent actor, who we've seen do amazing work over the years, he says, you don't know what my backstory is, you don't know who I am or where I'm from, and I'm like, that's exactly the problem with this whole movie. We don't know anything about anybody in this movie. They're all just faces.
But it is pretty cool.
I can fault this because there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of like little things, little kinds of pieces of information and little story threads that were introduced, and we do want a little bit more, and it's not really given to us all the way. It's a lot of fuzziness in this movie, but it's still remarkable in its achievement of creating something brand new and fresh feeling. And the character design that Del Toro is famous for, that's a big chunk of this film as well. The kaiju are incredible. The Jaeger designs are incredible, and it's just amazing to see these battles. I mean, that's what you're paying your ticket price for, and that delivers.
I just could not believe how numb I felt about a third of the way into the picture, and I never kind of woke up again after that. I kept watching this thing. I kept feeling it wash over me. I kept trying to engage with it. I couldn't find enough that was interesting that was going on here to get excited about. And this is the movie that I was most excited about all summer after Elysium. Now everything hinges on Elysium.
Today we are canceling the apocalypse!
I actually thought of Real Steel because it actually has
Which is a better movie.
It was a better one because
moving experience.
Yeah, and it was a little bit more intimate, and we got to know the characters a little bit better. But it was comic booky, super colorful, PG, and that's the thing with this movie as well, is that there's just unbelievable devastation, but all the buildings are empty, and you don't really see people getting squished. People run from these kaiju, but they don't really get demolished or crushed. You don't see the grotesque qualities that these things could introduce into the world.
And not once did I feel anybody was really in trouble in this. I mean, give us a little bit of gore. I mean, I just think it would have brought the movie a little bit more alive, would have given it a little bit more of a pulse than it actually has. I'm disappointed.
But what it does deliver and what it sort of, promises to deliver on the posters.
This is Guillermo del Toro. This is Pacific Rim. This is monsters versus robots. This should be way better than this.
This is a damn good film.
Mediocre.
It's a damn good film.
Soft.
But it doesn't have the emotional punch that you want it to.
I wanted to be punched in the guts, and I wasn't. Gets a 5
It's super fun.
out of 10 from me.
It gets a 7.5 from me.